Yes?
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry? Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, Funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The pale and the useless. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of Rick. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. No, you haven't. You're just sleep talking. And the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the disco ball. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state. You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. The first Smokes platoon. 20 brave souls standing in salute, ready to step into fire for you. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting for? Light, get a load of this rock and roll cop here, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter out of his thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and soul. A nostalgia for your...
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes gives +1 to intellect skills. Logic, rhetoric, conceptualization, visual calculus, encyclopedia, and drama. This is good before a white check, but damages your health.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again and ready to detect. Ready to go to war against the world. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week? Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. door is closed.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The Union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. Men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. Everything points to the dock workers' union. The tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Can I help you?
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones near.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The Union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always planned, but you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect.
Insect.
But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
Oh.
The waterlock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another...
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinion.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still have...
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are...
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame. And he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's...
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia. A diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you, it's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully?
Okay.
Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Can I help you?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes, it's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos, and tendons.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are...
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enamel boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's clearly some manner of super armor, or future armor. Super future armor? I'm useless.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the heel. Fairweather. Fairweather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know.
If you wear those pieces, it will help me protect your mortal coil. Yes, bullets will fly. They always do. And the coil is fleshy and mush and permeable. Cast it in ceramic shell. Resist death.
No, I think he had something precious underneath the clothes. They had to remove the jeans and shirt we found to get to it. And this kind of armor is often worn under fabrics.
Nice. That makes sense.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has...
Fucking talking about underpants.
Clearly Kuno would like to interject something here, but there's not enough for him to hold on to.
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes.
The lieutenant nods, wiping his finger on his sleeve.
That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. Just something I scraped together from my station. an area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether. Like whirls of floorboards, the design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right saboton, where you notice.
अरे नहीं यार, उसमें कुछ और है नहीं खेलने को यार. मैं टेकन खेलने का मन नहीं कर रहा है. ये गेम लाइक थोड़ी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग हो रही है एज लॉन्ग एज अगर समझ आती है इंग्लिश ना, तो फिर बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सी हो रही है. मिस्ट्री वाली है. सर्च मारे, क्लू सर्च कर रहे हैं हम, पता नहीं कौन है मर्डरर, इसको मारती है, सामने खड़ा है लटका हुआ बेचारा. और इसमें मिस्ट्री में हम घुसे हुए हैं, तो समवट इंटरेस्टिंग. बट थोड़ी इंग्लिश कमजोर है, इतनी भी नहीं है, बट इसकी कुछ ज़्यादा खतरनाक है, तो थोड़ा समझ नहीं आ रहा. बट जो चीज़ें समझ आ रही तब मज़ा भी आ रहा है. गोस्ट में खेल लूँ. मैं सोच रहा हूँ ब्लडबॉर्न खेलता हूँ. ब्लडबॉर्न स्ट्रीम करूँगा मैं. क्या बोलते हो? ब्लडबॉर्न स्ट्रीम करो. ब्लडबॉर्न डाउनलोड किए मैंने. गोस्ट ऑफ सुशीमा यार खेल ली थी मैंने. यार नो मेरे को पसंद सी नहीं, इसलिए वही रिपीट, पता नहीं क्या बार बार वही चीज़ करना पड़ता है. ये साला सिंगल प्लेयर गेम का मजा ही खत्म हो गया जब से टेकन वेकन खेलनी शुरू किया ना. मल्टीप्लेयर भैंस की इनसे इतना डोपामिन खा लिया कि सिंगल प्लेयर का डोपामिन ही नहीं मिलता. खेलने में मजा ही नहीं आता सिंगल प्लेयर, पता नहीं क्यों. तो एक दो मिशन खेलते हैं उसके बाद बोर ही हो जाते हैं सिंगल प्लेयर से. तो इट्स लाइक आई डोंट नो यार, ये सारा मल्टीप्लेयर गेम खेल के ना, टेकन जैसी गेम खेल के सभी डोपामिन खराब कर दिया इसने हमारा. वही तो बर्बाद कर दिया भाई इसने. सिंगल प्लेयर का मजा बर्बाद कर रखा है मल्टीप्लेयर गेम्स ने ना. सिंगल प्लेयर का मजा खराब कर रखा है. एक्सेप्ट कोई डिफिकल्ट गेम है तो ठीक है, उसमें भी अगर लाइक सही हो, जैसे एल्डन रिंग टाइप शिट हो ना, फिर ठीक है. लाइक इतनी अच्छी होनी, एल्डन रिंग जितनी अच्छी होनी चाहिए गेम को, तब जाके वो बराबरी कर पाएगी मल्टीप्लेयर का. उसमें भी मल्टीप्लेयर है तो फिर उसमें तो लाइक एक वो तो बन जाता है ना कि तुम स्ट्रांग बन जाओगे, फिर तुम लाइक स्ट्रांग बनो और उसके बाद फिर तुम ऑनलाइन खेल लो, वो अलग इसमें. बट जो भी सिंगल प्लेयर है ना, गॉड ऑफ वार भी जो न्यू आई है ना, गॉड ऑफ वार 2 वो भी आई है, तो वो भी खेल सकता हूँ मैं, जो अभी तालिब जिनने खेली नहीं थी. लाइक मेरे को पसंद है, बट साला बोरिंग लगना शुरू हो रहा था, पता नहीं क्यों मेरे को. लाइक मेरे को तो हर एक टाइप ऑफ गेम पसंद है बस. लाइक फिर बोर हो जाते हैं. लाइक मल्टीप्लेयर गेम ने दिमाग खराब कर रखा है मेरा. डोपामिन नहीं मिलता, वो साला डोपामिन सा नहीं मिलता. बट मेरे को सारी गेम्स पसंद है. घंटे खेली थी गॉड ऑफ वार, ड्रैगन रॉक, बोर होकर इंस्टॉल कर दी. क्या कौन से वाली अभी तूने खरीदी थी कि ये जो फ्री आई है अभी उसमें? मैं तो फ्री आई.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X54156745678222. Let's lie.
अच्छा.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
The stench fills your nostrils. As you push downward, an ominous creaking sound comes from above.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
Even the mongrels can see you're about to pull his head off.
अच्छा
Do it, Homo!
Pull his head off. There's no point performing an autopsy if you do. We'll have compromised the coroner.
Indeed, from this angle, it does look like the neck isn't going to take much more. Being dead for a week has all but liquefied his muscles.
What are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot?
This is advanced enemy technology. We should conduct research into their weaknesses. Are we not detectives? There may be clues inside the boot. He said they explicit. I thought I could want on the lucrative.
For a full set of armor, I wouldn't blame you. But these boots are hardly worth a disciplinary hearing. There are better ways to pay a hospital bill. Besides,
he taps it.
There's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
You're sure there's a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around.
Okay.
The anticipation makes you crack your fingers. Feels nice. Nice and cracky.
Let's go.
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under six-rotor airships. Oh my, there's something on the belt. A familiar word that speaks to the thirst within you. Vermilion, in yellow letters, along the length of the twisting cargo belt. Only a deep longing for vermilion golden spirits lets you decipher the fading logo of...
Extremely. Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes. Motivated by the ongoing strike. You? Yes, it often is. This bed worries me. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great century Messinian, maybe. But it's...
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you. The thought dissipates, and you feel as though you were only half right.
So am I.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears. Some sort of camera.
A Trigger Sunshine. Mini.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it? It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home. Just subaquatic dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer, a motherfucker, and a killer. Go ahead, Coppo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead, ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Coming right up, copperoonie. This is... Fuck no. You're no Rooney. Between you and me, your name is probably Harry. You can be anything you want. brother Corpo. Because you have loved it, me and brother Corpo. It was love all along. Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this? Looking at my face, motionless, looking into my eyes, standing here. Why are you investigating my murder? You're a lying sack of shit, Corpo. You're doing this because there is nothing else to do. Everything else is over. It's just me now. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori feature.
As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green. And this is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh.
So, what do you think? I agree.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead.
Sure, the corpse looks by, oblivious. Black decay liquid drops from his knee to his boot.
Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports her hanging. Everything here seems to corroborate that assumption, but we should still get him down before assigning a probable cause of death.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal-like.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
चलेगा थोड़ी देर में।
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoo.
Of course. You have questions, don't you? Do I remind you of...
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
No, not quite. Be fair now. You sure I got out of that one? Cop Bellini. Come back later, cop.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Someone else? You mean like...
What was that about processing, then? Weren't they supposed to take care of the boots? Why don't they help?
No. Think of the boys from processing as murderers. Only instead of people, they murder crime scenes. Processing is a wrecking crew. They know how to commission art. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We climb up there and... saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release...
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with...
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said. Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzle load. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
You missed? You fucking missed?
Fucking idiot! Mookabat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance. It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't...
This is the sod.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana boyka. Take it and
हाँ
shoot
सही है
yourself in
ठीक
the
है
mouth.
मतलब ठीक नहीं अच्छी है सब जिन
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth.
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left...
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you
oh
won't miss.
shit hand-eye coordination okay hand-eye coordination
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Tsushima है हाँ है मेरे पास
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from. Only that it's... Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
पीवीपी अच्छा है उसका सुशीमा का सुशीमा पीवीपी कहाँ है रे Are you talking about Ghosts of Tsushima, right?
The Ace is High, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the revolution, is used to celebrate success in Revachol.
Legends mode में PvP है कि Legend mode में co-op है co-op
to perform the customary salutation. Your palm
like
hurts
इकट्ठे
from
खेलते हैं ना हम लोग PvP नहीं इसमें like चार बंदे मिलके खेलते हैं और वो मारते रहते हैं बस उसको वही है PvP कहाँ है
I knew these guys were
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me. It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy. Yes, the 4 phases of a murder scene. 1. Investigation of the scene. I'm satisfied with that part. The trash container, the prints, we've been thorough enough. 2. Initial examination of the victim. We were exhaustive in our efforts there. 3. Field autopsy. This will not be pleasant or easy, and it will have to be performed on the scene.
The fuck are they on about?
Cops are gonna cut his shit up now.
4 and final, transport of the coroner's case to the district morgue. I'll do that. God, it stinks. No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From crime scene to autopsy to cleanup, we do it all. An honor and a burden attached to your rank. Mine is Lieutenant Detective, unfortunately. I can't tell you how tired I am of this. With shooting like that? Of course you are. Your station would not have assigned you to this case otherwise. In the meantime, we should try to interview Evrard Clare, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor just east of here. Getting in might prove a challenge, though. I would also suggest we interview Joyce, the Wild Pines representative, but we've already done that, so good for us. One down, one to go.
तो स्क्रैबल मोड से लेजेंड्स वो पीवी भी है. Okay.
Yes. And those were the interviewees.
Advanced race theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm.
Not even know मैं इसके क्या है. तो फोर्जा भी आ रही है पीएस में. अच्छी है, एक अच्छी सी रेसिंग गेम भी आ गई फाइनली पीएस पे. फोर्जा राइजन पहले थी नहीं क्या? कि वो एक्सबॉक्स पे थी? I don't know.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy.
राइवल्स करूँ मैं दोबारा, देखता हूँ कितनी की अच्छी है. आई थॉट इसमें सिर्फ वो कोऑप वर्जन ही है, नहीं तो मैं डिलीट भी मार दी. साला सिंगल प्लेयर में तो मजा ही नहीं आता मेरे को. It was just not fun in single player, man.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Epui Descent, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea.
The fuck? This guy, man. राइवल्स मोड में ऐसा ही है, एक तुम्हारा टीम है और एक अपोनेंट का टीम है. ऑब्जेक्ट्स होंगे, जो पहले खत्म करेगा वो विन. अच्छा है, 4-4 बंदे ना.
Unfortunately, no. And hygienically? Let's not go glove hunting, please. Let's use division of labor. I perform the anatomical side, while you take notes. Yes, you see, the field autopsy form is the one on red copy of paper.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings. Just lies there. The next box says...
KK57-08.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date, 0803, and time of arrival, 0815, on the scene. He's in... That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
Next, NA. Roughly 50.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Mwindi. This is the pudgy mess of curdled meat. Looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck.
None. At least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem. Then again, the right lividity is easy to produce if you know what you're doing.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then...
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's up.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a triggered meter. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end, well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters, generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temp. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with the age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short. Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now... we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fucking...
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
Last item, hands.
The hand is surprisingly heavy to lift, filled with decay liquids. Feels as though...
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hot. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury-related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips.
Yeah, Jack, that fuck!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. Same for toxicology and serology. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity.
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
No, it's not.
Fucking fail as shit, sailman!
Bitch saying your injuries weren't fatal, Kuno. You gonna let it stand?
I do what I want, see? Learn it.
Right. Next, a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that we were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order.
Damn, I mean,
Now, you see, that worries me. You will die if you drink. You know that, don't you? You are proving a useful detective. The organization would... I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
thank you.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Huh? You're misquoting me, Rooney. I said communism killed me. Love did me in.
You really need to learn the difference, buddy. This is embarrassing.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
The man is decomposing. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Fuck does Kuno care? Kuno doesn't...
Hello, sir. How is the investigation going? Found any curses yet? Oh, that's great! I hope exciting adventures lie ahead. And maybe you can help Mother become less afraid. Hello again, sir.
Yes? Hello?
What है? क्या कर जल्दी से खा रही है बोल रहे हो?
Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
Looking for something to read. It is. I know you are.
Everyone can see that. The rectangles.
Mm-hmm. What with?
What with? A lot of things. For example, people tend to go missing.
My husband? No, he's not. I don't know. At home now? Out drinking with his friends?
Where is this going, officer?
She gives you a short nod and shifts her attention back to books. Her hands move over the book covers. The tips of her fingers look rough, stained with yellow. It seems like she has spent a lot of time at work, smoking. An array of neurons fire up with joy. Bum her a cigarette, lest it turn to pain.
No, I don't. Why do you think that I smoke? It's not like yours look much better.
She is right. Your hands look even worse than hers, with tiny cuts and gushes covering your skin like a spider web. Your fingertips have become an ugly shade of brown. These are the hands of someone who's smoked for at least 20 years, as evidenced by the discoloration of fingers. Marks on your skin may point to past quarrels.
I already told you, I don't have any. Go bother.
She sighs. The woman...
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biography.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Yeah, why? It's a wall. An ordinary wall.
Why must we stop to look at this wall every time we pass by? We have...
स्टोरी तो काफी ही आगे चली गई है यार। क्या बताऊँ तेरे को, कहाँ से बीच में बताऊँ मैं? No.
This door is made. No one answers.
We should return in the evening, at 9 p.m.
The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded mark, they look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. These bullets were fired during the revolution, over half a century ago. We should focus on present crime.
चलिए मैं चलता हूँ। अरे करेंगे फॉरवर्ड फ्यूचर का जी प्लान जी कुछ सेव कर लेते हैं एक बार। जी